Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, this is a mystery review that I am doing today to keep all of them in the month of August so that I can get back on schedule next week. And it was guessed very easily. It is, in fact, Dredd. This movie is a 2010s movie. The hints that were given were Mama, What Am I Thinking Right Now, Hot Shot, and I Am the Law. So, without further ado, well, actually, with a little further ado, let's say hi to the chat. We got Vanya in the chat. Good to see you, one of the loyals. And Neozoic, one of the great trivia givers of this one, which I got some trivia of my own in this one as well. So also, if you like my channel and you want to support my channel, make sure that you smash the like button, or as the scroll on the bottom says, judge that like button for this stream in particular. And also check out my other streams, share this stream out. It helps get the channel supported and keep it supported. Check out my other content that I have coming out today and that I put out today. And tonight I will be on Mara Jade's channel for the second of the 1s and 2s, which is Ghostbusters 2. And tomorrow is Lost Boys on the singles. So then after that, it is Infinity War with the Hat Crew, and Monday Mayhem is Sharknado 5. 5. And then I'll give the hints for the last mystery review of the mystery review finale. So, yes. How you doing, Stig? And yes, I am the law. So, yes. My real name is, well, everybody knows my real name's Daniel. Anyway, but yeah, Orange Hat, Daniel, whatever. But good to see you, buddy. So in 2012, Pete Davis is credited to be the director of this film. However, he's not the director. Alexander Gardner is pretty much the director of this film, even though he is credited as the screenwriter. This movie stars Carl Urban, Olivia Thirlby, Lena Headey, Wood Harris, and Domhnall Gleeson, which is Brendan Gleeson's son from Harry Potter fame and the horrible Disney thing that they called Star Wars. He played Hux. It is about cursed Earth inhabitants and a mega city being kept in check by a new order of law enforcement. And a fun fact to get this movie off the ground, or the review off the ground, Carl Urban toned his voice down to be like Clint Eastwood's to give the intensity of a character more weight. And he was also he is also the one on the Lawmaster bike during the Lawmaster chase scene in the beginning of this movie. That is Carl Urban on the bike, not a stunt rider. And he insisted that he be on it, and he was then therefore trained for it. And I absolutely love how this movie is put together. This is my favorite comic book movie. It is honestly one of the best in my opinion, if not the best. This movie does a great job at setting up the atmosphere of the story, the setting and everything. It's like, he's basically talking about the cursed Earth and how it is a huge mega city that stretches from all the way from Baltimore to or Boston to Washington, D.C. So that's like 800 million people living in the shadow of the old, or in the ruin of the old world. And crime had just become way too rampant, kind of like what's going on now. I mean, we kind of do need a judge system. But it is also, I'm joking about that because honestly, it is also very pretty much fascist. There is no real due process in this movie or in this kind of law enforcement. They have the ability to dispense justice how they see fit using the laws that are given, yes, and yet they are judge, jury, and executioner all in one. So you also see how the city has constant surveillance, so it is a surveillance state. So because there is it's just chaos. The city is pretty much just chaos. Neozoic, it is a shame Dredd was a box office bomb. Then again, I don't know if we want to bring back a sequel, especially Hollywood nowadays. They would not be able to woke this up. Honestly, they could try and people would reject it outright. They'd be like, you want to know why the first one bombed? Because not enough word of mouth marketing. The second one bombed because, well, you guys did some stupid shit. I mean, Carl Urban is the perfect choice for Dredd because honestly, he respects the lore. He's kind of like Henry Cavill in that regard, where he wants to respect the source material. And we see Dredd. I like how they're actually cutting between Dredd and the city. Dredd suiting up in the locker room. You don't see his face. You only see his hair. And then you see the crime that is rampant throughout Mega City 1. And it really is great how they cut between them and also put the narration over it. That is very good storytelling, in my opinion. And it really does basically give you everything you need to know about what this movie is basically about. So we then see the pursuit, and also this beginning of the movie also goes over the lawgiver's DNA check, which is when he picks up his gun, it says DNA positive or whatever. And we then see Dredd using the Lawmaster in pursuit. Wants to keep the helmet on throughout. Yeah, that is actually one of the trivias that I was going to go over in this. But hey, you got it right. There's a hot pursuit now in this scene where these three guys are getting high on slow-mo. This drug that slows your brain's perception of time down to 1%. There's this, these guys are called the Drox. Now, back when this comic was out, there was not a lot of swearing allowed in comics. So they had to come up with their own, and one was the word Drok, D-R-O-K-K. Well, these guys are called the Drox. The word is not in the movie except for that reference, and that is reference to the original one of the original swear words created for the Dredd universe. And I like how this plays because the guy has to basically ruin his own high to try to shoot at Dredd, and they're like, "Do you require backup?" No. Hold on one second. I gotta cut my camera. But yeah. Olivia Thirlby, strong female character, no preaching of feminism involved whatsoever. Exactly. And that is another reason why I like this movie's female co-lead, because honestly, she does a great job. Her acting is very well done in this film. So they get down, or after the perps wipe out a guy trying to cross the street, trying to get away from Dredd, he's like, "Perps just wiped out an innocent. I'm taking him out." It's like, okay, you guys just basically got yourselves death sentences. And so he shoots the tire out, causing two of them to die. And he sees the slow-mo inhaler, and so he's like, "Great, more of this shit." And he runs the guy into into this like mini mart mall, like a mini mall. And you see this fat dude just dead. Now, fun fact, folks. One of the laws in the Dredd universe is it is illegal to be fat. So that is a small inconsistency to the universe because it's like, well, you've got a lot of extras. I mean, you might as well put some of the fat ones in there. And, well, if he wasn't going to be, or if he wasn't dead, he'd probably be arrested for being fat. I mean, I wouldn't be able to survive. I mean, I got a gut on me. In that universe, they'd probably be like, yeah, you're under arrest. You're like 2 freaking pounds overweight. I don't know. But yeah, so after he finds the guy, it's great cinematography here because it shows him walking, and then it shows the guy holding her hostage, and in the grease or in the reflective surface next to him, you see Dredd walking in. How would I compare Dredd with other 2012 comic book movies such as The Avengers, Dark Knight Rises, Amazing Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance? Dredd is up there. Dredd is the top one. Dark Knight Rises is around 3. Avengers is maybe around number 2, maybe. Well, actually, Spirit of Vengeance is number 3 because I actually like Spirit of Vengeance very much. Dark Knight Rises is on the bottom with the Amazing Spider-Man. So yeah, that's how I would do it. Neozoic. So he talks to the guy and he's like, "Let's talk. What's there to talk about, Judge? Release the hostage, and I guarantee you will get life without parole in an ISO cube." He's like, "Life without parole? What kind of negotiation is that? Your crimes include multiple homicide and the attempted murder of a judge. Or you either take the deal or the sentence is death." And the guy's just, "Hey, Junebug, good to see you." And the guy's just not having it. He's like, "You know what your problem is, Judge? You're a terrible negotiator, Judge. You want to know why? You got no fucking leverage." So he raises the gun and he's like, "Last chance. What's it gonna be?" Or, "Didn't you hear me? I said I killed a bitch." "Yeah, I heard you, hotshot." "What?" I said, "Hotshot." And it switches the ammo. I love the lawgiver concept where it has different types of ammo shots, where you could do signal flares, double whammies, freaking armor piercing, rapid fire, high X, which is a high explosive, incendiary round, which is basically a white phosphorus round. I mean, pretty much the equivalent of a dragonfire round, except with white phosphorus as the flame source. What else do they have? I mean, they do a lot of different ones in here. Also, the stun round, which is nice for if you want to keep your target alive. It does a really good job at setting that lawgiver up. The lawgiver that they have in the origin or in the other Dredd movie that was in the 90s, that Sylvester Stallone, I like that design better than this one. However, this one is a more rustic and more realistic design. However, I still do like the other one better. So then they have Recyc, where bodies are getting picked up by this machine, and then it's sweeping up the blood and shit. And it's like, oh my god, dude. So Dredd is called back to the Hall of Justice. And before we get further, there's another fun fact that Dirty Harry was one of the core inspirations for the Judge Dredd comic. So the intense voice that he gives in this movie is based on Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry. You know? I mean, I can't do the Judge Dredd voice or the Clint Eastwood voice. I suck at it. So Dredd is basically in with the Chief Justice, who is talking about Rookie Anderson, who was basically mediocre at best. However, her scores were 3 percentiles below a pass. So what's she doing in a uniform? I mean, Judge Dredd, he asks all the right questions. So what is she doing in a uniform? Rookie Anderson, sir. This is a female Chief Justice, by the way, and they're calling her sir, which is pretty accurate to the comic book. And I love how she sets up the whole thing here. She's like, how many people are observing you? And I love the psychic effect that they give that shows that she's using her power It's kind of an outward rippling effect, but a lot more sharp with light as well. That is a nice little effect there. So she reads, and she's like, 2, what can you tell me about the man I'm with? Or what can you tell me about the person I'm with, rather? Male, another judge. I feel anger and control, but there's something beneath the control, something almost, and then she stops her because it's like, this Chief Justice knows that Dredd is one of the best out there. And she also doesn't want Dredd getting pissed off because Dredd is not one to really be anything allowing to escape the law. And so she cuts off the mic and he's like, she's a mutant. And so he has to be reminded, you're overlooking her status. Or the council has decided to overlook her status, and so will you. And so they have her, or they say that she's basically the most powerful psychic by a huge margin that they've ever come across. And she looks normal enough because the mutants against the radiation wall that cuts off the cursed Earth from the mega city basically is still very much irradiated. So it caused people to be mutated, and some of them develop psychic powers. So she tells him flat out, you're going to take her out on assignment. They're giving her one last shot, and you're going to be evaluating her. Sink or swim, chuck her in the deep end. But also I do like the line where she's like, and besides, her grade was 3%, or was just 3% under a pass. It's marginal. It's not marginal. She failed. She's getting another shot, you know? I love that. He's like, the girl's getting another shot. Sink or swim, chuck her in the deep end. And so I love how basically Judge Dredd is meant to basically be saddled with her to do this evaluation, to do this final test for her, essentially. Neozoic, how would I compare Karl Urban's role with Dredd as other roles such as Aylmer, Leonard McCoy, and Billy Butcher? These characters are all polar opposites of each other. I mean, Billy Butcher is really the one that comes closest to Dredd. Leonard McCoy I actually like his Leonard McCoy. Hot take, folks. I actually like Karl Urban's Leonard McCoy because he just plays it so well, in my opinion. He's not anywhere near the original, but he does such a great job with it. As Aylmer, he played it very well. I thought that he actually did a good job. I don't know how Tolkien feels, but I thought he did a good job. Karl Urban is a very underrated actor. Yes, he is. And yeah, Lena Headey showing. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows what Lena Headey looks like inside and out because of her walk of shame in Game of Thrones. So he's taking her out, and he tells her that her automatic fails include disobedience, incorrect sentencing, and losing your primary weapon. So another fun fact, Karl Urban was adamant about not removing his helmet, which is pretty unheard of for Hollywood actors, considering how if a Hollywood actor is wearing a helmet, they usually, or something that covers their face, they want their face to be seen because it's like, hey, this is me, you know? However, Karl Urban is one of those that is like, his character doesn't remove the helmet. So, no. So now there is the Peach Trees, which is another fun thing because a small fun fact here, Peach Trees is actually not in the Dredd comic. It is a restaurant in which the directors and writers met to pitch the film. So yeah, that's interesting. And we are introduced to Mama, played by Lena Headey, and she's high on slow-mo in a bath, flicking water up, and it's really done well. And then you see her second, Caleb, who is saying, we got a problem right now. And so she's like, or she's just smiling, and then she hears that, and she's like, oh. So she has to get out of the bathtub and basically find out that her third, K, is, or has 3 guys that were apparently selling Sternhammer product from the block, or the Sternhammer block, excuse me, and they're drugged from that block instead. And they're like, I warned them off with a beating, but now they came back. So she's like, you can't handle this yourself. I can handle it. The question is, do you want to set an example? Now, Mama was actually created to be very misandrist. She hates men. She absolutely hates men. She'll work with men, but she hates men. And there's a reason for that, too, which we will come to later. And so she's like, skin him, throw him over the balcony. Just very cold. It's like, skin him, throw him over the balcony. And she just walks away, and they're like, hit him with a little slow-mo first. Sure. So, yeah, you hear the screams of them getting sliced up. You see the skin getting sliced off. It's like, oh my God, man. They really didn't hold back on this one. It is rated R, which I really do like that, because this kind of film does need to be rated R. So they hit the guys with slow-mo. Now, this movie was made for a 3D effects, so you do see that there are certain things that will have a more pronounced presence on the screen. And the slow-mo inhaler here is one of them, where you actually see the thing. It kind of looks like it's up close, more in your face, where they hit him with the slow-mo, and then you see slowly dropping. The people down in the atrium see 2 bodies drop, and then a woman walking her kid runs out of the way to avoid the third one, and we get the report of triple homicide. Now, folks, this movie does not hold back with the gore. When they arrive, I'll tell you what I mean by that. So, it's also reported that there's 12 serious crimes reported every minute, 17,000 every day. They can only basically respond to 6%. Which 6%? Your call, rookie. It's your evaluation. Peachtree's multiple homicide. Okay, Dredd to Control. We'll take Peachtree's. And we find out that Peachtree's has 75,000 residents, highest crime rate, and an unemployment rate of 96%. Wow. Just wow. So the fun fact here. The comic where Dredd does remove his helmet, because there is a comic where he does remove his helmet, it actually puts a sensor bar over his head to basically cover his face like this, because they didn't want his face to be like an everyman sort of thing. They didn't know how to make his face, so they just put a fucking sensor bar over his face in the comic, which is pretty good. So then we see her getting, or asked by Dredd, rookie, judgment, points over to this guy. Vagrancy, 2 weeks in ISO queues, but prioritize murders? Correct. Don't be here when we get back. And the guy literally has a sign that says, homeless junkie will be base for credits. It's like, are you freaking serious? So, yeah, it's like, wow. So then they find the 3 bodies, and the medic is there, and they're like, what do we got? 3 bodies in a sort of fucked up situation. So you see, when I say that this movie is very much didn't skimp on the gore, folks, they didn't skimp on the gore. You see brain matter, blood. The bodies are kind of just flat, or kind of like deflated because of the impact. This is basically what would happen from a high velocity fall. And the fact that they were skinned also is like, wow, or these 2 are drug dealers, and this guy, I'd have to run his DNA through a scanner if I could find out which DNA is his. So they pull back his lip, and you see a cold burn. And he's like, what do you make of this, rookie? I don't know, sir. It's a cold burn from a slow-mo inhaler. She doesn't know about slow-mo because this drug is just hitting the streets. And it's explained that it makes time slow down to 1%, or your perceptions of time slow down to 1%. So so then she basically is asked what her assessment is. Skinned, killed, displayed in public. It's a punishment killing. Somebody sending a message. Yeah, don't fuck with the Mama clan. Mama clan. That's news to Dredd. So Dredd is, or we learned from Marilyn Madrigal, a.k.a. Mama. The picture is pretty old, but that's her all right. And she went in, or she was a whore from a pleasure district, like P9 or the S9 pleasure district or something like that. And her pimp sliced her up, but she got hers back by feminizing the guy with her teeth. Basically, she bit his dick off. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't ever want to be around this person. It's like, holy shit! Require too much knowledge about Judge Dredd comic from the audience. Oh, fun fact. Garland's Draft, who is also credited, or I'm going to drop some knowledge on him later, originally was going to revolve with Judge Dredd and described as a riff on the whole judge system, but scrapped due to judge system had not been established and required too much knowledge about Judge Dredd comic from the audience. Nice. A bit like a documentary now. LOL joke. Well, sarcasm. That's fine. So we then see I like how they do the little montage of how Mama came into Peachtree's and ran the block, or just took over the block, where there were 3 gangs that ran the block. The Red Dragons, the Peyote Kings, the Red Dragons, and the Judged. And the Judged are basically tattooed from the back to the front here, and they have the cross, or the red cross, like the Judges' helmets. So you see them all run or getting slaughtered by Mama's gang, and some of them who are injured are trying to get away. You see Mama's gang freaking come in and kill them. You also see her freaking put something in through the eyes of this poor kid, which is later to be seen as Donald Gleason. And it's like, oh shit, man. And in like less than a week, she was running the block. In less than a week, she took over a mega city block. So it's like, oh shit, dude. Now every level is hers, 1 to 200. So we then see that they're getting ready for the drug bust, and the effects are freaking great in this scene. Orange Hat Reviews, I think you misread. I typed down Death. Yep, sorry. Judge Death and describe. Yeah. Sorry about that, Neozoic. Dredd's arch enemy. Yeah, not Dredd. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. And I actually have heard of Judge Death. I think he had the skull and or something like that. He was a judge, but they kicked him from the force, kind of like Rico from the original one movie. Now, I love how he's like, are you ready, rookie? You don't look ready. It's just adrenaline, sir. Was wondering when you realized you left your helmet back there, or when you didn't bring your helmet. Sir, the helmet can interfere with my psychic abilities. I think a bullet would interfere with them more. And so he's like, all right. Breach. So they set the breach charge, and these guys are now just starting to get high off of the slow-mo in the distribution den. And I love how when the thing blows, it's slow motion, but you could still see the skin rippling off of the guy as the force of the shock wave is actually sending him through. And so you then see how it speeds up a little bit to show that the judges are in real time and how they're executing people in the bust, anybody who pulls a gun. And I love the bullet time because you see the bullets ripping through the body as well as one goes through a dude's face, comes out the other end, and rips the face on the other end. I mean, this whole bus sequence was great. And also, if you look at the background, there is a woman who gets blood all over her face in slow motion, which they actually use later on in another scene of mind reading and whatnot. So we're then brought back to real time, and it's like rookie judgment. Or she goes off and she just basically reads it off. Well, don't tell me, tell control. So she reads it up, and where else here? And so they're cuffing up everybody, and he's like, "Sir, this one's a gang member." And then she reads him and realizes this is the guy who is responsible for the 3 murders in the atrium. And she's like, "Sir, it's him." Him who? The one we're looking for, the one that murdered 3 people in the atrium. Are you sure? 99%. Hey, Davian, good to see you. Hope you're okay. I'm doing okay. Going to watch Zombie Flesh Eaters 2 later. But first, listening to your new live Dredd review. Thank you, Davian. Good to see you, and I hope you enjoy that Zombie Flesh Eaters 2. And I love how he's like, "Are you sure? 99%. Can't execute a perp on 99%. It's like, Judge or Dredd, are you looking for a reason to kill this guy? So I was like, dude, you'd be doing us all a favor if you just confess right now. But he's not confessing. So when Kay is being hauled out of there, he makes a purposeful movement to look up at the camera, because there's a camera looking down at him, and you see the cyber kid that looks just like the kid that Mama jammed those things into, so you know that she was jamming cybernetic implants into his eyes. And he's basically realizes, oh shit, Mama, we got a big problem in Sector 5. And so Caleb is reporting to Mama, or because he actually called Caleb, not Mama. And he's like, we've been overdue a bust. The judges are just here to show us that they still exist. No, Ma, they got Kay. Executed? No, they're taking him in now. Fuck. If he talks, if they have him, he'll talk. What do we do? Well, she is about to stop, or basically put a stop to the judges. And I really like how she does it. Now, there is a fun fact here. Throughout this movie, there are 2 graffiti tags in this block. One is Chopper, which has a happy face in the O, and Kenny Who with a question mark at the end. They're seen in the movie in peach trees. And they are references to actual characters from the comics, which is pretty cool. So the computer guy warns Mama, and then she basically has him call up Sector Control to initiate a death contest and for the Hall of Justice to ignore their status, because the death contest literally shuts down the whole block. Every exit covered. So let's see here. When they're getting down there and they see the vagrant guy, you were warned. You're coming with us. Up. Well, that's just when the freaking doors come closing and crushes the dude, the vagrant. He's looking up like, oh, or he's just looking up, and it's like, didn't even get the hell out of the way. You did not even move out of the way, man. You're dead. He's dead. Freaking just blood pool just spreading from his crushed body and whatnot. It's like, oh damn, dude. And then Mama comes up. Peach trees. This is Mama. There are 2 judges here. I want them dead. All clan, every level, hunt the judges down. Everyone else, get the hell out of the way until the shooting stops. As for the judges, sit tight or run. Doesn't matter. You're mine. So it's like, oh shit. The entire block is now going after the judges. So it's like, we need to move. I wish Angel or the Angel Gang was in this film version, like in the 1995 film version. That's interesting. I'm guessing they didn't want to do too much references to the original because of that original was good entertainment-wise, somewhat. But however, it is very much, they didn't want any reminders of it. So how would you compare his Ed with other superhero roles such as Reeves' Superman, Jackman's Wolverine, Maguire, Spider-Man, Haley's Rorschach, Lee's Crow, Bale's Batman, Downey's Iron Man, etc. Like I said, this Dredd is one of the best comic book superheroes. I think that he's right up there with some of the best superhero roles. I think that he was pretty much tailor-made for Dredd, to be completely honest. So they're now moving up the block to get to level 25 where the med center is. And they're stopped by some gang members coming down the stairs, and Dredd's like, call it, sir. You're on assignment, or you're on assessment, rookie. Call it. So she basically makes the judgment call for gas grenades. And I like how he looks at Kay. He's like, I advise you hold your breath. And you see how they efficiently take out the guard or the clan members that are coming after him, which is pretty cool. And we see that they finally get to the med center where there's a bunch of members hanging there, and they take them out, and one of them's still alive, begging for his life, and she has the gun on him, and Dredd reminds her, what are you waiting for, rookie? His crimes include attempted murder of a judge. That's a death sentence, or the sentence is death. Yes, sir. And so she executes him. And that life there that she executes will come to play later on in the film, which is a nice little twist. He then gets over to the med center and he's like, open up. Open up. Negative, judge. This guy doesn't want to come, or isn't letting him in, because the whole clan is out for their blood. It's like, you're already dead. This is neutral ground. Neutral? You aren't neutral. You're choosing sides. So, another fun fact, Lena Headey wanted Mama to be a middle-aged, man-hating woman instead of an evil elderly lady that was originally pitched for the film. She also had her original tattoos used as a base for her numerous tattoos over her body, like the one on her arm is the base, but the rest of it that crawls up her shoulder and up her neck and up her face is the extensions. But the area on the arm is actually the base of her tattoos, or is real. So we then see them evading more of the clan members and killing more of them. And they run into the executed one's baby mama's apartment. And Kathy reads the mind, and she lets her in, holds her quiet while the clan members pass by. And she's like, secure her in the other room. I can't. Why not? She has a baby in the other room. We can't hide her we can't restrain her unless we know that, or we can't restrain her because of the baby being in the other room. But then she reads the woman's mind, and she's like, say what you were just thinking right now. Well, it's okay, just say it. Well, there's a service elevator. It says that it doesn't work, but it gets you to any level as long as it's above level 75. I just want you off this level, away from my family. Fun fact, John Wagner, creator of Judge Dredd, was the consultant for the film. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So after that, they finally make their way up to level 76, and they get sealed there by Mama because they haven't even taken a scratch yet. And I love that little bit in the elevator where you see Anderson closing her eyes because she saw the picture of the man she executed with the girl and realized, oh shit, I just killed that baby's father. Well, unfortunately, you had no choice, Anderson. It was your life or his. And he also was also guilty of attempted murder of a judge. Hello, Orange Head. How are you? Doing good, Ruben Thomas official. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Make sure that you all judge that like button, folks. It helps get the channel recognized more and helps you guys get more recommendations of my channel. Also, if you can turn on the notifications to my channel, it really will help. And share the stream out if you haven't already. Thank you. So, continuing. They set up, or they decide to split up after the level is starting to be shut down, and Anderson and Kate are leaving Anderson and Kay alone, and he's like, psychic, so fucked up, hard to believe it's real. Like, what am I thinking right now? And then you see definitely not Olivia Thirlby naked getting raped in that thought, and she tells him, it's like, you're imagining a violent sexual liaison in a pointless shock to scare me. Pretty good, but I wasn't trying to scare you. Or wasn't trying to shock you. If I was trying to shock you, I'd be thinking about this. And you see a close-up of her eye and heavy panting, and so she just cracks him. It's like, what are you thinking about now, huh? I thought it was great. I was like, okay, that did shock her. So now he knows that he could get to her. Gotta go, Orange, but don't worry. I'll definitely watch the rest of the review later. I have already liked this video. Thank you so much, Davian. You have a good day or night, because I know it's more towards the evening where you are. Have a good evening, buddy. So we then see the entire block get shot up because Judge Dredd's out there looking over and he's like, oh shit, fire. And these are 3 freaking miniguns that you put on fucking choppers, folks. They're just ripping through the entire level areas. And you see the techie guy just looking as all the cameras are going error across the freaking board. And he's like, I can't believe I'm helping this psychotic bitch do all this shit. The cyber kid with the cybernetic eyes, he's a victim. You see that he is he's not doing this because he wants to. He's doing this because he's threatened to death. So they have to escape that, and you see Anderson looking back, looking for Dredd, but you also hear the psychic ringing in her head, so you can basically understand she's feeling all the death around her, which kind of sucks for a person who is psychic. Hey, Janet from another planet, always a pleasure to see you, girl. How you doing, beautiful? And I accidentally double tapped, so let's show Janet's comment again. That was awesome. Yep, this film is awesome. So yes, we then see that Dredd, Anderson, and Kay jump out after blowing a hole into the wall to the outside, and they land in a little skateboard park or a skateboard arena. And I love how they finally get the comms back, so they call in the 1024, which is Judge is under fire, and they're like, can you hold your current GPS? No. or if they come for us, we have nowhere to go. And I like how Sector Control actually is, you hear the worry in their voice. Just stay alive. Just do your best to stay alive. And it really is nice to have that little bit of humanity in Sector Control, where they're actually worried about the judges, because the judges are losing the battle for the city. But Judge Dredd is pretty much the thread that is keeping order in the chaos, somewhat single-handedly, but also with others. But everybody fears Dredd in that universe. If Judge Dredd is on your case, but this is earlier in Judge Dredd's career, so he hasn't already made a name for himself. But yeah, it's basically that kind, or this is like early Judge Dredd career. He hadn't established his legend yet, which is actually pretty cool, because in the first movie with Stallone, this is a seasoned Judge Dredd, or that's a seasoned Judge Dredd. Everybody fucking knows his name. Where Judge Dredd isn't known in Peachtree's. He's not known anywhere else. This is his early part of his career, which is nice. So we then see that they have to go back in, and Dredd slaughters the search team, including Caleb, Mama's second. And I like how he just brings Caleb up to see, or to show Mama, and then just throws him over the freaking edge, not giving a fuck, and then just turns his back on Mama and walks away. She's like, what? She's looking at him like, what the fuck? And then it just cuts to Kay screaming. He gets thrown into a classroom and starts getting the shit beat out of him by Dredd. And he's like, your clan just wiped out 3 sectors of an entire block to kill 2 judges. Sound like overkill to you? He just starts ripping into him, and he's like, you know what I think? I think that if we executed you in the bust, Mama would have let you walk out of here. But she's afraid of what you would say under interrogation, and that has me curious. So he just starts beating on him. He's forgetting. He's like, fuck the law right now at this point, which is a great point to what I was saying. This is an early career Dredd. He is more passionate about the law, yes, but he's also willing to forget the law in extreme circumstances, and this does it. Mama just slaughtered innocents. So it's like, this woman is fucking out of control. I need the answers that I need to get, and I am willing to fucking beat the hell out of this man to get them. I'm willing to torture at this point, which I'm guessing is not exactly legal. So when Anderson actually is like, sir, if you let me, he doesn't have to say a word, or I can get the information without asking him a single question. And so he reluctantly lets it happen. And I love this frickin' psychic interrogation. Welcome to the inside of your head. It's kind of empty in here. So he's like, oh, my head. Do as I like? Sure. So he pulls gun, tries shooting at her, pretending or thinking about shooting or killing me doesn't actually hurt me. Or thinking about hurting me doesn't actually hurt me. He's like, oh, yeah, they're just playing, but there's that one thing. What thing was that? That I know how to freak you the fuck out. And he starts imagining her stripped down and getting down to get on her knees and whatnot. He's like, I thought that shut you up. She just walks right up to him and is like, hey, I could play mind tricks too. And you see him start to glitch because it's in his head. Netcat Media, good to see you. And I absolutely love this because it looks like he's in a lot of pain, and then he looks down and sees Mama spit blood out. And it's like, oh, you sick fucking bitch, you twisted fucking bitch. We're only getting started. And you hear him screaming, and it's like, oh, damn, dude. Okay, yikes. So she basically used what she learned about Mama, feminizing her pimp with her teeth, and used it against Kay. And then you see Kay just like, or his head just kind of like explode in his mind. And then you just see piss running down from his knee, like spreading down from his freaking knees because he pissed his pants from the interrogation. And so she finally figured it out, and reading his mind, seeing all the shit that he's doing, plus the blood spraying against the woman's face that you actually see earlier in the film, which is something that is a movie trick that they do. They actually take background parts of a scene and put them in further in the movie just to basically pass some time. And we realized Peachtree's is the head distribution of slow-mo throughout the entire throughout Mega City. That's what they didn't want known. Basically, Mega City Peachtree's needs to be busted up because of the slow-mo trade. So the judges, or we see two judges coming in for backup, and the Cyberboy stalls them. It's like, yeah, we have a fire here on Sector 75 or level 75, and I've lost control of the system. I can't let you guys in. Well, you better get control fast, otherwise I'm slapping you with an obstruction charge. 5 years in the cubes, mandatory. It's like, yeah, I'll get right on it, sir. So then there's the gang youth that frickin' find him. The Raid Redemption is a great martial arts. The Raid Redemption is a great martial arts film. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. Okay, I'll check it out. What is your thoughts on the reviewers drew comparison between Dredd and the Raid Redemption due to their similar elements in the setting, story, and characters? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know. I have no thoughts. Sorry. So it's then the gangs, these two kids in the gang find him, and I love it. Freeze! Why? Because otherwise I'll shoot you. With the safety on? They actually they hold this trick in the book, but these are kids, so you can't really hold it against them. It isn't. What's going to be, kids? Body bags or Juve cubes. It doesn't make a difference to me. Now, while this is happening, they're checking out the info terminals, and Kay is currently not being covered because, well, Anderson also has to hold the gun on the kids too because it's a standoff. And so, well, Kay basically gets out of his cuffs and grabs Anderson and gets her to the elevator, and Dredd has to move out, or roll out of the way as the kids start shooting, and so he uses the stun shots on the kids. So it's like, okay, so he's not willing to just outright murder kids. They hadn't, or yes, they are technically guilty of attempted murder of a judge and whatnot. However, he's not a heartless monster, you know. He stuns the kids. So that was a good move there. And now we see that Anderson is taken by Kay, and everybody's celebrating. It's like, so what am I going to do with you? Mama's up there. You're not going to do nothing. All this is your doing. You should have, or during the bust, you either should have gotten yourself killed or you should have killed the judges. Hey, wait a second. She just turns around and punches him. Shut the fuck up. I'd kill you myself, but I've already lost too many men today. So sooner or later, Justice Department's going to come in looking for their judges. They're going to find them all shut up. One in the atrium, one in level 70 or 25. Just a bust that went wrong. So that doesn't mean no raping, no skinning, just bullets to the head and chest. Do you understand me? Yes. Do you fucking understand me? Yes. And well, this is where Dredd has had enough. I love this fucking speech, folks, and I am going to recite this speech. Inhabitants of Peachtree's, in case you have forgotten, this block operates under the same laws as the entire city. Mama is not the law. I am the law. Mama is a common criminal, guilty of murder, guilty of distribution and manufacture of the narcotic slow-mo, and as of right now, under penalty of death. Anyone who obstructs me in my duty will be treated as an accessory to her crimes. You have been warned. As for you, Mama, judgment time. I fucking love that scene there. Is fucking chilling because it's like, how the fuck are we gonna stop this dude? Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what the fuck are we gonna do? I mean, I'd be that kind. I'm that kind of guy. If I was a fucking bad guy, I'd be like, oh my god, who the fuck is this dude? How the fuck are we gonna stop him? Something tells me he's not gonna go down easy. Well, then freaking straight female black-haired black guy with has to be a fucking wig. I've never seen a person or a man with feminized hair like that. Comes in, plus a bunch of others. They end up shooting the other area where the judge was found, or where Dredd is supposed to be. Turns out it's one of the other gang members who was stood up in the terminal. And Dredd just incendiary shoots a white phosphorus round over to where they were, killing every single one of them, allowing Mama to see it all on the freaking camera. And it's like, how the fuck are we going to stop this guy? Call 911. So then you get the 4 corrupt judges now. But before we get to that, a huge part of the success of Dredd, this is a direct quote from Carl Urban addressing the Alex Garland thing. A huge part of the success of Dredd was due to Alex Garland, the screenwriter, and what many people don't realize is that Alex Garland actually directed the movie. He's not credited as the director though. Pete Travis is credited as the director, but Alex Garland actually was the writer who was basically in the editing room helping with this freaking movie. Pete Travis was actually banned from the editing room because of problems and whatnot. So it's like, oh shit. So I love how the 4 judges come in, tell the 2 other judges that they're relieved, and they come up with this bullshit scenario when the medical personnel or the med tech comes out. He's like, that's not what's going on at all, man. Or 2 of those judges, at least one of them still alive. You prepared to testify to that? Sure. One of the judges just executes the guy right then and there. So it's like, well, okay, we know that these guys are not on the up and up. So they end up at Mama's quarters, $1 million. $1 million? This judge, you know who he is? No. I do. $1 million. Fine. Where's the other one? The rookie. We have her. Alive or dead? Alive. Make her dead. Well, then they go looking for Dredd, and one of them comes across him, and I think his name is Chan, and he's like responding to a 1024, and he's like, okay, cavalry's coming, Dredd, just look up, or just hold on. And he's like, 2 judges called in the 1024, wondering why you haven't asked about that judge yet. Oh shit. It's like, this judge fucking panics. He's like, dude, hurry up. It's like, oh shit. So he ends up killing that judge by taking the butt of his freaking gun and just hammering him right here. So the dude basically chokes on his own fucking blood, which is great. It's funny that Lena Headey, who plays Mama in Dredd, who voices a villain in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles named Big Mama. I guess Lena likes to play voice villains that is named Mama, or play and voice villains that are named Mama. Yeah. Oops, accidentally. Yeah. So, yeah. And so the other 2 judges freaking arrive and see their friend just finally drop dead, and it's like, oh fuck, you know. So Kay is holding the lawgiver on Anderson. Anderson's like, yeah, it is. And Anderson's like, or he's like, I always wanted one of these, you know, I just want to really finally, and he's just bitch talking to Anderson's like, if you weren't going to be killed today, it was going to be either tomorrow or the next day. So, any last words, bitch? Funny. I was going to say the same thing about you, bitch. Well, he holds the gun up to her head. She's like, and he pulls the trigger. Uh-oh, alarm goes off. DNA fail. And the gun explodes in his hand, wiping out his hand. And he's like, oh, And so she gets up and freaking spin kicks his head, snapping his neck. And it's like, oh, damn. She gets out of the cuffs and manages to kill 2 other gang members and gets one of their weapons. So she has an MP5. So we then see that, let's see here. Anderson also, or 2 of the other judges are going after Dredd, while the female corrupt judge goes after Anderson. She's like, lower your weapon, rookie. I'm your backup. And she reads her and then just opens fire shooting her because she's like, yeah, you ain't fooling me, bitch. And the other 2 judges are going after Dredd, and he's like, how much to buy a judge these days? $1 million. Split 4 ways. 3 ways now. Fine by me. That's what it costs to betray the law, to betray everything you stand for. Save that shit for the rookies. I love that. Save that shit for the rookies, man. You know what Mega City is, Dredd? It's a fucking meat grinder. People go in, meat comes out the other. We're just turning the wheel. So it's like, yeah, this guy's been on the streets for 20 years, and basically he's like, what do I got to show for it, you know? So Dredd kills another one and calls for all of the different rounds and realizes he only has, I believe, what is it? Hot shot or something left, and manages to kill the other judge. And he's like, motherfucker, 2-way split. Yeah, I'd really be worried if you hadn't just run out of bullets. So then the guy uses armor piercing and shoots through the structure, or the stabilizer structure pillar to which Dredd's behind, and Dredd gets shot. And I love this scene because the guy comes up, he's like, yep. And Dredd's like, wait. You gotta be kidding me. Did you just say wait? It's like, wait for what? Judge Dredd. The Dredd. Judge Dredd. I mean, wait for what? Wait for the last few seconds? Or wait for me to make up my mind? Wait for the last few seconds of life because you're so fucking weak? No. And then you see the judge die or get shot to death. Wait for her to shoot you. So then he has to patch himself up. He does a freaking small burn to go over one side of the area, and then he does a automatic stitch job, which is pretty kind of cool, you know? So it's like, oh shit, you know? So then they get up to the last level, and we get the Anderson and Judge Dredd in the cyber room. Well, he's hiding, and they find him, and it's like, I don't need you to talk to get the combination from you. But then she reads that he is indeed a victim. She's like, go, get out of here. And so he runs out of there, and Judge Dredd confronts her. He's like, you mind explaining yourself, rookie? Abetting a fugitive is not just a failing offense, it's a crime. And she's like, I already picked up the fail when I lost my primary weapon. I'm not going to be a judge, and I know that. But as I'm still, or until this evaluation is formally over, I'm still legally allowed to dispense justice, which is exactly what I did by letting him go. He's a victim, not a perp. And she pointed that out, and then she's like, the code is this, and let's finish this. So they finally get in, take care of all of Mama's guards. Mama puts a machine on her wrist right here, which is a pulse reader, but it's also a transmitter to a bombs, apparently. And I love this showdown because Anderson gets shot, and so she's out of commission. Not dead, but out of commission. And Mama tells Dredd, it's like, you got no way out, Judge. You see, or you like the jewelry? It's a transmitter synced to my heartbeat. My heart stopped, and this entire block is filled with explosives, or the entire top 100 floors are filled with explosives. If I go off, or if my heart stops beating, bombs go off. This entire, or everybody in this block, ash. And he's like, this isn't a negotiation. The sentence is death. You can't take the risk. Well, he's pointing at her head like this. And then he's like, lowers, shoots her. Gut shot, still alive, long enough to say, so, or how strong is that transmitter? About, can it make it through 100 levels of concrete? How about 200? We're a kilometer above ground. Let's find out. So he grabs the slow-mo, grabs her, puts her up against the window. Hot, right? And he's like, Citizen Mama, your crimes include multiple homicide, attempted murder of a judge, and distribution of narcotics. How do you plead? And you see Mama inhale the slow-mo. Defense noted. Shoves her right out the frickin' through the window and out the window. So she's going to fall to her death. And it's a slow-mo death, so it's like, takes her a while. But I love how it covers her down. And she's looking at all the death around her, and she has no fucking regrets. She's high as a fucking kite. And so she's just trying to move the glass out of the way. And she's about to hit the ground. And I love that the ground is transparent, so you can see just what happens. Her face splits along her scars as the impact caves in, and then it's just all blood. So it's like, yeah. Which is exactly what Judge says, because I always wonder, it's like, yeah. And then he walks away, patching Anderson up in the elevator, going down, and that's when the block starts reopening. So the lockdown is over, and Anderson believes that she's failed, and he's like, Anderson, your assessment's now over. And so she slips off her badge and hands it to Dredd as she's walking away, but the Chief Justice is coming in, and he's like, when I heard you called in at 10:24, figured I'd check in on you, seeing how I forced a rookie on you. And he's like, so what happened in there? Drug bust. Looks like you've been through it. Perks weren't cooperative. So what do you think? She a pass or a fail? She's a pass. Knew she'd be. Even though she indeed did fail, he, as dedicated to the law as he is, that is actually a great freaking moment for Dredd. It's a very big piece of character growth, because that shows he is willing to accept extenuating circumstances. Dredd doesn't negotiate. Dredd doesn't give a fuck about 3 percentiles or a margin of error at the beginning of this film. You break the law, you're fucking done. Doesn't matter what you did. You're doing the sentence that the law allows or requires. He doesn't negotiate. He's stiff-minded that way. Where at the end, he's learned to accept that there are extenuating circumstances. And that is such a powerful bit there. And so you get the final narration of Dredd, which is basically a re-narration of the beginning of the first one, or the beginning of the movie, and we see Anderson walking out to her lawmaster to go patrol the streets, and Judge Dredd riding off as well. And then we get the credits rolling. Before we get any further, Neozoic, how would you compare the Lawgiver with other famous comic book weapons such as Power Rings, Lantern Corps, Lasso of Truth, Web Shooters, Cap Shield, Mjolnir, Wolverine Claws? The Lawgiver should be compared to guns more than weapons of those calibers, because those are godly calibers. The Lawgiver is just a versatile weapon unit. It's a versatile weapon sidearm, which allows multiple different heads to be put on your rounds. Now, the way that I figure about these, or about the different heads or the different caps to the rounds, is that the weapon itself has the normal amount of rounds, where you also have a few heads of these different caps of these different rounds, like the high X, the stun cap, or the stun bullets and whatnot. So you still have the set amount of rounds, but not the same amount of, but different amounts of versatile heads to go over the round chambered. Basically, you know how you see some bullets that are tipped, like with either armor piercing rounds. Like, take a 50 caliber, or actually here, take this pen. Here's the underneath this clear bit is the normal round. The black bit here is the specialized head of the bullet, or of the bullet. So when you call for like high X, the weapon would take off the second, or take off this tip, cycle, and put in the high X, or put in the high X explosive tip. And that's how basically I figure the lawgiver works. Because otherwise, or anything else just doesn't really make any more logical sense than that. So objectively speaking, this movie does have its problems here and there. Greatly or well written by Alex Garland. Direction, obviously, Alex was the person to have had to have directed this film due to, well, I'm guessing there was some problems between Pete, whatever his name was. Pete Travis. So good direction on Alex Garland's part. This movie, I would say, around an 8.5. Objectively, it does have its moments where it's like, okay, that's just ridiculous. This is just nuts, and that's very fucking cool. But from an objective standpoint, where these things are like, you got these good things here, you got some bad parts here, you got some continuity here, you got some other problems here. However, subjectively, this movie is 10 out of 10. It is my favorite comic book movie, in fact, because this movie, or you get all the other comic book movies out there, but this one is actually versatile, gritty, freaking great. I love it. Anyway, folks, moviegoer, 10 out of 10 as well. And hints for next week. Corrupt Cops. All right, let's, yep, Corrupt Cops. I'm giving you all three of the, four. I'm giving you 4 hints. Corrupt Cops, Snoop Dogg, 3 Wise Men, and Russians. If you know it, do not spoil it. If you, or I will definitely, or you can, or when I put the hints out on Twitter, you can guess them in the comment section, and that will be the finale of Mystery Reviews. Starting next month, they will be Tuesday theme streams. Next month's theme is Batman. I will be going over 4 selected Batman movies that I really like. And I will let you know my thoughts on them, much like this, just without having the guesswork and whatnot. And if anybody wants to join me on those streams, I will be happy to bring people on. I usually did the mystery reviews solo, but if people want to join those streams, I will let you know which ones are coming. Anyway, thank you so much to Nia Zoic, Janet from Another Planet, beautiful Janet, Netcat Media, Davian Donaldson, Ruben Thomas Official, let's see here, Steve Kenobi, awesome Steve, man, and Vanya Kostyuk. Thank you all for tuning in. Y'all are freaking amazing and beautiful people. Stay tuned for tonight. I will be on Jade Shadow's channel. We're talking Ghostbusters 2. So, yep. Have a wonderful night, folks, or day. I got to get out there and mow the freaking lawn, get that shit done for the week. Y'all have an amazing and awesome night. And always remember, stay humble.